Hey there Rangers, and welcome to the last Power Rangers Dino Charge hiatus video for July. That's right, we are just 1 month away from the return of Power Rangers Dino Charge. Hopefully we really quickly get some new Zords, because one of my favorite things about a Power Rangers season is taking every Zord they have and just throwing them together into a big giant combination of heavy metal! That's why this week, I'm ranking my top 10 Power Rangers ULTRAZORDs. First things first, a clarification to a clarification. I said last week that since Overdrive had an ULTRAZORD that wasn't its biggest combination, I would just include both in the rankings. Well, as it turns out, I was a little bit confused. I think what my mind was thinking was that it wasn't their last Zord combination. However, their ULTRAZORD was still the most of their Zords combined. It was a little bit easier than usual to narrow down my list of 10 candidates because after I applied my criteria to the list, it turns out there were only 10 candidates. 10 seasons did not feature what I consider to be an ULTRAZORD, and we haven't seen Dino Charges yet. Now, some seasons did technically feature more than one ULTRAZORD, so unless there was a clear, distinct difference between the two, I just went with the bigger one. So, what were my criteria? A combination of more than 6 Zords, and the largest combination of Zords for that season. For example, Jungle Fury had a bunch of combinations of Zords that kind of served as their ULTRAZORD. However, barely any of the Zords were combined in them, so nope. Also, note that the name ULTRAZORD is not a requirement. You'll see why. Alright, with all that said, let's get this list ranked, shall we? Number 10, Ninja ULTRAZORD. Number 9, Shogun ULTRAZORD. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Ah, these lovelies. You see, while Zyuranger and Dairanger provided the carrier Zords that are the perfect base for an ULTRAZORD, Kakuranger was not so kind. So, the producers brought back Titanus, the popular carrier Zord from Season 1, upgraded to work with the Ninja and Shogun Zords. Now, how did they accomplish putting together these Zords when obviously there was no footage for it? Well, why don't you let Linkara tell you?
They put the toys together, even though they don't look like the Zords from the Sentai footage at all.
Yep, that's right. The producers filmed the actual toys combining together. It looked really bad, and considering the fact that each of these were only used once, it hardly seems like it was even worth bothering. And besides looking bad, it led to a key error. In the toy line, the white Shogun Zord was recolored pink in order to match the core team. The Crane Ninja Zord had enough red or pink on it to match that scheme anyway. So, when the Shogun ULTRAZORD shows up, suddenly the white Shogun Zord goes from white to pink. There's also the matter of the Dragon Zord crest on Titanus' chest, but as theorized by the Power Rangers Wikia, the upgrades to Titanus might have included adding some of Dragon Zord's components. I mean, it was great seeing Titanus again, and both of these ULTRAZORDs were powerful. But yeah, it really just didn't provide much, and it was far too much of a stretch. My liking the look of the Shogun Megazord over the Ninja Megazord is what gives the Shogun ULTRAZORD that slight boost up to number 9. Number 8, Zeo and Super Zeo ULTRAZORDs. Pyramidas was an imposing Zord, no question about that. Large and powerful, even though it didn't move very much. But boy, did it put the carrier in carrier Zord when it came to the ULTRAZORD. The Zeo ULTRAZORD just takes the Zeo Zords and throws them in the back, bottom to top, then lets the red Battle Zord sit on top of the shoulders. The Super Zeo ULTRAZORD is even worse, just throwing the Super Zeo Megazord in the back as one piece. It's just uninspiring as a look. The front of it is just Pyramidas standing up. The only really cool Zeo ULTRAZORD look was carrier mode. Pyramidas stays laying down flat, and riding on top are 2 cannons pulled by a lion and a bull, backed up by a phoenix and Captain Gatling gun arms. Now that is an ULTRAZORD. Why is that the mode that was only used once? Number 7, Hurricane Ultrazord, Ninja Storm. Take a lion, a dolphin, a hawk, 2 beetles, a swallow chopper, a mini Zord, and a firebird and mix them all together in a hurricane. Then, when that's done, slap that dude on top of a mammoth. That is the recipe for the Hurricane Ultrazord, which, true, has next to nothing to do with ninjas, but it looks too fantastic for me to even care. The coolest part of this Ultrazord for me is the finishing move where it launches all of the power spheres, with the Hurricane Megazord just slamming them into the mammoth one after another after another. Number 6, Gosei Great Grand Megazord, Megaforce. And here's the first proof that the word Ultrazord is not a requirement. Not even Megaforce seems to consider this an Ultrazord, but think about it. This is a combination of 8 different Zords, combining 2 Megazords, and adding 1 more Zord from a set of 3 to power its staff. Megaforce does have a combination that uses the term Ultra, the Ultra Gosei Great Megazord, but that's really just 5 Zords and a myriad of Mecha-Zords. The PR Wikia says that it's not actually considered an Ultrazord, though I'm not actually sure why. The silver of Robo Knight on the head gives this combo a really good look, and that staff is a powerful and versatile weapon. Megaforce didn't give us much, but it turns out it had a hidden Ultrazord. Number 5, Thunder Ultrazord, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Sometimes it's not as much about what you look like as what you can do. The Thunder Megazord doesn't really have a great look to it. 4 of the main Thunder Zords form a chariot that the Red Dragon Thunder Zord rides inside. This is known as the Thunder Zord Assault Team, and hey Bandai, thank you so much for announcing the Legacy Thunder Megazord, but seriously, make sure it can form the Thunder Zord Assault Team. This sits on top of a turtle Zord called Tor the Shuttle Zord that's holding the White Tiger inside it. You can't even see the Tiger Zord, and the 4 Chariot Zords are kind of minimized against Tor and the Red Dragon Zord. But the finishing move. Oh, that finishing move. The Red Dragon Thunder Zord, in its humanoid form, spins its staff around like a helicopter blade, lifting the entire rig into the sky. It aligns itself over the monster and unleashes a giant energy beam? Flings the monster up into space? Nope. The helicopter blade stops. The entire rig falls, and kersplat! Number 4, Drive Max Ultrazord, Operation Overdrive. So yeah, like I said, Overdrive confused me a little bit. Usually the Ultrazord is revealed later on in a season, and it's the final Zord combination. Overdrive gave us its Ultrazord in episode 12 of 32. It did have a lot of Zords to get through, so I guess I can understand that. I really like the look of the Drive Max Ultrazord with the big wings in the back and a lot of shiny silver. Hey, at least the Zords look good on Overdrive, right? Number 3, Samurai Gigazord, Samurai. I know, I'm sorry. Listen, top 3 is not bad at all. No, it's not because you didn't use the term Ultrazord. I actually think that's pretty cool. A lot of younger people these days associate the term Giga with large because of gigabyte, and also GIGA is the start of the term gigantic. I really like your throne aesthetic. It's really fitting for your samurai theming. And you're just a wonderful combination of a bunch of different kinds of Zords. My only real issue with you is that you were never really a gender-forward Ultrazord, were you? The producers took the only 2 Zords that belonged to the girls and made them literally useless throne ornaments, shoved to the back and the bottom. I finally had enough for you and swapped the girls' Zords with the bull Zords, and I think you look better now. Heck, if your producers had done that, maybe you would be up in the top 2. Do you understand? Okay, good. Now, I kind of need you to zap back over to the shelf, okay? If it helps, you're going to be in the thumbnail. Alright, with all that taken care of, we are now ready for the final 2. This week, it's the start of one era versus the end of a different era. Now, I know I said there were only 10 candidates for this week's list, but I also said that I disqualified some seasons, so let's go ahead and go back over the list anyway. The toys should look like the show, not the other way around. Ninja and Shogun Ultrazords take number 10 and 9. Not too much to look at, but truly powerful. Zeo's Ultrazords land at number 8. The Hurricane Ultrazord is number 7. It's great. It's grand. It's not ultra, but the Gosei Great Grand Megazord is number 6. With the power of thunder, MMPR's Turtley Ultrazord is number 5. With the speed of the Sonic Streaker, the DriveMax Ultrazord streaks to number 4. Ultra is so played out, all the hip Zord combos have gone giga. Samurai's Gigazord is number 3. Number 2, Dino Ultrazord, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Cue the screaming and the tearing of the clothes and the gnashing of the teeth. Gnash, gnash, gnash. Yes, the first is not quite the best on this list. But it's number 1 in our hearts, isn't it? My favorite thing about the original Ultrazord is that it was just a game over situation. When Titanus entered the battlefield, that monster needed to start writing a will. The re-release of the MMPR Zords in the Legacy line has actually helped remind me just how many pieces move around on this thing. I figured Mega Dragon Zord just jumped into Titanus and bam! But Titanus' tail splits and becomes cannons, Titanus' feet come off and become gloves for the Megazord, and as I mentioned, Dragon Zord's crest becomes Titanus' chestplate. Game, set, match, monsters. Number 1. RPM Ultrazord, RPM. The RPM Ultrazord has always been my favorite Ultrazord, and I don't apologize for that. This beauty takes 12 different Zords, twice as many as the Dino Ultrazord, and combines them not just into a big pile of metal that can roll, not with a big throne setup that takes up half the Zords. This thing combines 12 different Zords into a humanoid, moving, walking, kicking Ultrazord. It is an accomplishment of design. RPM, though really Go Andrew, yes, I know, was just absolutely amazing in terms of its Zord design. They took 12 different Zords and combined them into 4 Megazords in sets of 3, and also sets of 6, 9, and 12. It's just an absolutely amazing Zord accomplishment, and we've never really seen it repeated. That is how 12 Zords combine to be number 1 to me. Wow, this week's viewer's choice is complicated. 5 of these will get mentioned, and 1 is one that I didn't even have under consideration. Dino Thunder's Triceramax Megazord got 2 votes, but it only had 6 Zords, so it didn't fall under my consideration. MMPR's Dino Ultrazord, the Samurai Gigazord, and Zeo's Ultrazords each got 2 votes as well, so that is a 4-way tie for second place. But for the winner, we actually agree. 3 votes for the RPM Ultrazord. Thanks for voting. This week's channel shout out goes to Florida Rules, and being a Floridian by birth myself, I tend to agree. They do kind of nerd news and Power Rangers stuff videos, so give them a look. As a gamer, one thing that I've learned is that if you love a game enough, sometimes, even when the console eats your save file, you just have to dive right back in. A little while back in the hiatus, I made a video about Power Rangers and video games, but sadly that video got eaten up by computer errors. But you know, I just really love the topic and I want the video to be made. So next week, I'm taking another crack at it. I just hope that I can find my Super Nintendo by then. Where could it have gotten to? That's going to do it for another Power Rangers Dino Charge Hiatus video. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, make sure to click that like button right down below the video. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to this channel. I make Power Rangers episode reviews or Power Rangers topical videos every Monday. And leave me some comments down below. Let me know what you thought of my list. And even though it's not a top 10 vote, no channel shout out, why don't you let me know your favorite Power Rangers video game? Until next time, may the power protect you.